Wandavision. It's finally wrapped up, folks. Wandavision episode 9 has gone. Wow, it's not come and gone. It's going to be for probably the rest of Disney Plus's entire run. But yeah, I've been watching this from the beginning to end. Me and my girlfriend sat down this morning, watched it. We very much enjoyed the entire series up until now. And I very much liked how it ended. I liked the end. I liked this episode. It's not my favorite episode. I think my favorite episode is probably the last episode, or most recent episode prior to this, episode 8. But this was still, it was a good episode. It was a good end to wrapping up a lot of loose notes, but still leaving the door very much open for what may happen in Spider-Man, or what's going to happen in Spider-Man 3 and Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, because we know this ties in. Right out of the gate, I want to actually get out of the way. I think what my one, and I'd say this is not major, but biggest complaint is, and at 50 minutes, first off, let's not kid ourselves here. 50 minutes, it was maybe like 40 some odd, 42, 43 minutes, because there's about 5 minutes worth of credits at least, something like that. We're 2 mid to post credit scenes, so there you go. But the first half of this episode, basically the climax part of it, the battle, that felt rushed. That really, I mean, and I won't even say this, like the first half of the fight felt rushed. Okay, I'm going to fight Agatha. Okay, nope, here's White Vision. No, we don't see him entering. He entered somehow. He entered. That's the thing too. He just somehow entered. My guess is because he's an inorganic. He's the original Vision's body, at least. He's powered by the hex magic from Wanda. Yes, magic. That's why he was allowed to enter. And then, okay, now here comes Vision. And Agatha Vision. Oh, there's this. Oh, and there's Monica stuck with the fake Pietro. So it felt rushed. In the beginning, once we got to the middle of the town, like the center of the town, and she started undoing the mind magic Wanda had put the people under, that's when it started to find its actual pacing in the proper way, in my opinion. But yeah, the first part of that felt a bit rushed. Other than that, though, we got a lot of answers. I watched, I like to watch John Campea on YouTube. I think he's a really good YouTuber. Honestly, he feels very genuine. And he's got great opinions, and I don't always agree with him, but it's fun. Anyway, he did a top 10 needed answers, at least he felt, that we needed in WandaVision. And it was actually it was a good part of, it wasn't like a separate video, although it ultimately became one. But, I'm actually going to get it up because I actually think it's a good reference material for what we kind of need here at the moment. So 1 second. I want to also be sure that I don't accidentally set something up. Okay. So, okay, there we go. So I want to get the questions up. So we had a lot of questions that needed to be answered. Now, did we get them all answered? I don't think we got them all answered, but we did get a giant chunk of them answered. And yeah, so I'm going to go first off. Okay. So the first one, a lot of people have been asking that he brings up, and that's brought up in at least the 10 questions he asked, are the kids real? We now know the kids were not real. When the hex was gone, when the hex started to disappear, they, just like Vision, started to break down. And that's a horrifying scene to watch. Watching your kids start to break down. What's even more, I'll tell you what, it was even more like heartbreaking. I don't know if it's the most heartbreaking scene. I think the most heartbreaking scene is Wanda breaking down after it all happened. Like after she finally all hit her that she's just alone and all this. After that great scene of what is grief but love persevering. Is just that tucking the kids in with Vision, having one last family moment, all the while the hex is coming in, and her and Vision standing there talking, waiting for the inevitable. Basically, like two people waiting for the apocalypse to occur, seeing like the meteor hit and the impact coming, and just standing there knowing you're not going to make it, and you just hold your loved one's hand, knowing that it's just going to wipe you all out. Just that was such a beautifully hard scene to watch. Oh man, but yeah, are the kids real? No, the kids were not real. Now, in the second post-credit scene, which there's a lot to unpack with that, we hear Wanda, or we see Wanda going through the Darkhold in an astral projected form, studying the Darkhold, and we hear, I don't know if it's Billy or Tom, we hear one of the kids' voices, and she suddenly just, does, the magic and the screen cuts, like, okay, what's the deal with that? My guess is, and this will tie into the Multiverse of Madness more than will Spider-Man 3, is that because the Multiverse of Madness is going to probably be giving us so many alternate realities and alternate takes on characters, that one of the realities has an actual reality where the kids actually exist. Or furthermore, maybe the kids she conjured were real within inside the Hex and are in fact real from another dimension, but could not exist inside this dimension, given the method they were brought into the world. Same with Vision. So when she hears the kid's name, she's like, okay, I'm going to go plunge through the multiverse. And that's where Doctor Strange comes in. Which, should note, they dropped the big freaking bomb here. It's like, oh no, Wanda, you're the Scarlet Witch. There's a whole chapter about you in the Darkhold. You're stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. They flat out said she's stronger than Doctor Strange. And that's a tall order to be stronger than Doctor Strange, just given what Doctor Strange is ultimately capable of. When you really break it, especially because, you break down how long it's been since, like, the snap and all that, and how long it's been since, he first became, Stephen Strange, the sorcerer. He's probably learned more and more, so he's strong. And, of course, we should know that Doctor Strange isn't actually the Sorcerer Supreme as of yet. Like, maybe by Multiverse of Madness, he is the Sorcerer Supreme, but technically isn't the Sorcerer Supreme when you really break it down. So, yeah, they never said, he said when he matched up with Thanos that he was Master of the Mystic Arts, not Sorcerer Supreme. Although, we get that scene in Endgame where Tilda Swinton says that he was supposed to be the best of us. I mean, he was destined to be Sorcerer Supreme. But, yeah, the question, who is Ralph? Well, we actually learned finally who Ralph was. And it actually answers the other big question he has, was Evan Peters' Quicksilver the actual Fox X-Men Quicksilver? And the answer to both of those is Ralph is Quicksilver. And no, Quicksilver is not the X-Men Pietro. He is just... he's just a guy named Ralph Boner, or probably Boehner or Bonner, but Ralph Boner, Boner. And Wanda and Agatha just took him, hijacked him. That's what he was. Does the book come into play in episode 7? It actually does come into play in episode 7. That is, in fact, the Darkhold, which is actually very interesting because we see the Darkhold in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which it technically is part of the MCU. But that tells me that Kevin Feige is basically saying, no, screw that, because Kevin Feige never liked any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. shit. I think he was okay with Agent Carter, but no, he never liked any of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stuff. So I think this is like a big FU to him, because he probably wanted to introduce the Darkhold at some point, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like, no. This is the Darkhold. Like, yeah. So there you go. The book did come into play for no other reason, and the fact that Wanda is studying it later on, she's learning from it. Yeah, that's. See, we were all assuming this is not going to have a happy ending, and it doesn't have a terribly bad ending in terms of like all this bad shit happened, like terribly sad. It doesn't have necessarily a very sad ending, but it actually doesn't have a happy ending because Wanda has to go on the run. She has to go on the run to study her powers, learn her magic, all that. Which, by the way, they were able to adapt that Scarlet Witch outfit, I think, pretty well, all things considered. But no, yeah, and she's basically hiding. Is she in the same cabin in the woods that Bruce was in Incredible Hulk? It looks very similar. But yeah, she's in a cabin in the woods, somehow able to astral project and study while her physical body is, not just while she's sleeping, but while her physical body is moving, which already kind of shows out she can do a lot more than Doctor Strange can. So, yeah, and she's reading the dark. I was like, yeah, I mean, huh. Did like, by the way, that entire how she actually brought Agatha down. The whole, because I figured she wasn't really firing at Agatha in a way to really attack her. She was actually hitting the barrier on purpose. Like, okay, why is she doing that? And then I'm like, just get the Bad Boys for Life music, just hitting her getting her with the runes. That was great. Does Vision survive? Okay, this was something I wasn't sure they were going to do. I wasn't certain on what they were going to do. But basically, first, the major cameo. I think that was another thing. Yeah, okay, yeah. That was the next one. But yeah, first off, that I really actually like that scene between the two visions. Well, oh god, what was it? It's basically it's a story. It's algorithm of like a brain puzzle about like a certain ship, and it's the same. They use it again in John Dies at the End, where like, he kills a guy when the next guy comes back, but he had to replace the handle of the axe. Like, that's the axe you killed me with. Is it? Well, technically no. But there's they actually go more deeper into it because it's based off a different thing that I can't remember. It's a ship of some kind. Basically okay, but if you replace every part of the ship, is it still the same ship? And basically it's like, no, but I got another one. And basically, he countered the White Vision's logic with a different thing. And basically, we are and we aren't. We both simultaneously are the ship and aren't the ship. We are Vision, we aren't Vision, but I don't have his memories. I will say this: the fact that, what's the best way to put it? First off, I had a sneaking suspicion Paul Bettany was going to survive. Vision was going to survive this, because what Paul Bettany said in the interview about the whole Mephisto thing, which obviously we did not get Mephisto, is that, I can't say anything about it because I don't want to get fired. And to me, I'm like, well, if you don't make it out of this, first off, you're a professional. You're not going to stay anyway. But that actually is a bit of an interesting thing. It's like, I don't want to get fired. It's like, well, wait, does that mean they're going to use you for more things, maybe? And sure enough, White Vision now, survived. He's awesome. We don't, and I like the fact we actually don't know what happened to him. He's out somewhere in the world right now trying to figure himself out. The fact of the matter is, Wanda couldn't bring him back. But Vision I do like the fact they do address what Vision kind of was. Like the Hex version of Vision was. He was, Wanda's sorrow, Wanda's pain, but mostly her love. But a manifestation of the part of the Mind Stone that lives in her. That's why he had the powers of the Mind Stone and could actually get people out of the Hex. And could, get them out of the illusion. So the fact that he could do that to Vision and basically bring the memories back, I'm thinking, okay, that's great. It does beg the question, though. It's like, why couldn't Wanda do that? If Vision could do that, Vision is a piece of the Mind Stone that lives in her, and he hadn't been manifested yet. How come Wanda couldn't do that? I think it's a legitimate question in many ways. Like, wait, why can't you do that? But I don't know. And the fact that now we basically, I tell you what, it's very possible that Wanda Maximoff's story in the MCU, we'll eventually always get recast and all that to keep these characters alive, but we'll eventually end with her and Vision reconciling, meeting, saying like, I loved you, miss you, and settling in Westview where that house is. I think that might be how their MCU arc ends, and then they might show up again later on, helping out. You might get Young Avengers with their kids. Who knows? But I don't know. The fact that he could just reinsert all the memory. He does say is that you're a vibranium or getting bioorganic or biomechanical synthezoid. It's not that easy to get rid of our memories and stuff like that. So I don't know. That did feel a little cop out. It's like, okay, we're just gonna burn. But he does make a point. It's like, not that easy, even without the Mind Stone. And yeah, it was a good scene between them. And we got White Vision, who will eventually be, our Vision again, I'm sure, coming back. The big cameo that Bettany talked about, it was him. The actor I always wanted to work with was me. And Paul Bettany's got a great sense of humor too, so I can understand that. Is Wanda a pure witch or a mutant? It sounds like right now they're going with witch. it does sound like they're going with Witch. Now, with the Multiverse of Madness and possible Nexus of Reality, because the commercial was Nexus. Look, you don't use that in the Marvel Universe, dealing with Wanda Maximoff, without it being either the Nexus of Reality, or her being a Nexus being, or both. So that's probably going to come up, honestly, in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. That's probably going to be a big thing that comes up, is the Nexus of Reality, which leads to the multiverse. In the Nexus of Reality, all facets of reality and all alternate variations that could exist in such realities exist. So it's the perfect tool to maybe rewrite them into mutants. Rewrite the timeline or something like that. It's probably the most... Look, there's no easy way to bring mutants into the MCU. There's just not. Because mutants have such a long history in the Marvel Universe about persecution, all that it's... Whatever way they do it, it's going to probably be clunky. I feel like the Nexus is probably the smoothest way, just because there's a lot you can get away with the Nexus of Reality. But yeah, for right now, Wanda's not a witch. Then we never found out what happened to Adrian Franklin. Most likely he got assimilated in town. We never found out who the people in the commercial were. And another big one that was asked was, hey, what is Hayward a villain? That was the other big one that was asked. And yeah, by the end of this, it's not that he's like a Thunderbolt Ross, where he's a good guy, he's just an ass. No, he wasn't going to shoot. He doesn't. Now, his logic when shooting Billy and Tommy was probably that he knows they're not real. But that's still like really, like that's not dickish. That's villain. Like that's cold, man. Like those. They might not be human technically, but they look human, they act human, they think human. Like that's kind of effed up, dude. You're gonna shoot those kids dead. What the hell? So yeah, Hayward ultimately turned into a villain, which I was okay with, because quite frankly, they made this character a big enough dick that I'm like, either way, I'll probably be happy. Thunderbolt Ross is a little different than this guy. Because Thunderbolt Ross, he comes off as an antagonistic guy, but as his position changes, instead of being General, or I believe it's General Thunderbolt Ross, not Colonel Thunderbolt. Oh, is it Colonel Is it? Damn it, Thunderbolt Ross. Hold on, Thunderbolt Ross. I can't remember if he's a Colonel or a General. I think he's a Colonel, or I think he's a General, isn't he? Thunderbolt Ross. Okay, Thunderbolt Ross. Let's see here. It is former Lieutenant General Thunderbolt Ross. Okay, I do remember General. Like in Incredible Hulk, yeah, Thunderbolt Ross he's not the bad guy. That would, I just clean my camera off a bit. That would be more Abomination. But no, he's the antagonist, 100%. But at the same time, his means for it, what he's doing, do make sense. He does ultimately mean well. He's just a dick at how he goes about it. So, but then when you get him back again in, Civil War, it's like, okay, yes, he's in fact, he's less of a dick also. It's like, he even says, like, he gave me perspective. And, it's like, getting a heart attack gave him perspective. It's like, you can tell he means well, but he's still the military guy at heart, but he means well, and he's a lot more toned down in this, certainly, in Civil War. So you can actually see the evolution of where Thunderbolt Ross came from. And Thunderbolt Ross never did anything as bad as frame someone. Let's be clear. He didn't frame Banner. He just assumed, well, technically he did. But at the same time, it's like Banner turned into a freaking, he didn't frame him for a crime he didn't commit. Banner did something, became the Hulk, injured his daughter, and basically he stole government secrets. In a way, he did. But Thunderbolt Ross never said, oh yeah, he stole the gamma formula, and just, made a video and basically made everyone assume that, when no, he didn't. No, he didn't. And he never would have shot a kid, no matter how fake or real they may have been, in the face. Like, no, this Hayward is a bad dude. So ultimately, that was Hayward might show up later on. Who knows? Few other things that should talk on real quick. I love the fact that Wanda was convinced that these people were happy, they were content, she was taking care of these people, and then realized like no, anytime they dreamed, they were dreaming, like fell asleep, they were feeling her pain. Dottie, now known as Sarah, she's like, my daughter, we can do whatever you want, just let me see my daughter. It's like, and Wanda clearly didn't realize what she was putting these people through, and then she accidentally like collars them and chokes them out. Like, Jesus, Wanda. It's like Wanda. I think it really came to a head for Wanda in that moment, like what she was doing to these people. Like when Evan Peters, Pietro Ralph, as we now know, said, you've handled the ethical dilemma, ethical problems of this as well as you could. It's like, you don't think it's wrong? Like, she knew what she was doing. She just didn't realize the negative impact she was having on these people. Like, she really did not know how badly these people were being, these people felt, and were in pain. And it's clear she felt terrible for it afterwards. Like, when she finally realized that, she felt terrible. But again, I mean, I go back again more than anything. By the way, I love Jimmy's little, sleight of hand there. It's what was it? Illusion. What did he say? Basically, it's like a magic act term. Or ta-da, or whatever, when he gets the handcuffs off. I like that little scene. And Darcy just slamming into Hayward's car. But again, the thing that I think ultimately, like, really set in stone, what I liked about this episode is the end of Wanda's story with the vision, if you will, the fission, the fake vision. Again, we see the hex receding, we see it coming, and what do? They tuck their kids into bed. The kids not realizing probably what's going to happen. At least they don't let on to the fact they know what's going to happen. If they do, they are really cool about it. And then Wanda and Vision, just having those last moments together. Them holding again. I think about any movie where like a giant explosion's coming, you can't escape it, and you just accept it, and you're with someone you care about, and you just let it happen. It's just like that was a really beautiful scene. I thought that was a really beautiful scene. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be disappointed. The director even said, yeah, a lot of people are going to be disappointed with the ending. And I can see why they might be disappointed. But I felt that, would I prefer to see Wanda go bad? Like at the end? Sure, I would. Would I prefer like the House of headlines, like no more mutants, or a variation of that? I don't know if I'd prefer it. I would have liked to have seen it. But let's actually be clear here. Where we leave Wanda off in this series, she can still be a bad guy in Doctor Strange. It's already stated she ultimately is stronger. She has the more stronger powers and potential than the Sorcerer Supreme himself. She's ultimately someone more dangerous than Doctor Strange. So it makes sense she could very well be in it. Maybe not the antagonist, but a antagonist. We know she has a major part in Multiverse of Madness. So it's very possible she could still be a antagonist / villain in Multiverse of Madness. However, with White Vision now out in the world, I don't think she's going to die. I've heard some people thinking she's going to die in Multiverse of Madness. I don't think it's going to happen because White Vision is out there, and I think the happily ever after for both of those characters is needed finally. So eventually, maybe, and I think maybe that's where really Multiverse of Madness, where the multiverse issue is handled in whatever fashion it's handled in, and they basically settle down with their new versions of Billy and Tommy, maybe teenaged up at this point, and so they can be young Avengers if they do that down the road, which I'm guessing they probably will. There's no announcement, but I get especially with like Kang and stuff coming, like other time-bending shenanigans. And I believe we know that Scott Lang's older daughter, who's now aged up thanks to Endgame, is going to be in Quantum Mania. I think it's actually fairly likely we're going to get Young Avengers at some point. Yeah, at some point. And we know Ironheart's going to be a series, which is basically a young teenage female Iron Man. I know a lot of people actually had a problem with that character. I never really read much about that her character. except for the fact I think she like stole Tony's suit, or she did something that a lot of people didn't agree with, and like Tony was the AI, if I remember correctly. Basically Tony was her Jarvis. So I don't know, but we'll see. Last but not least, Monica. We got to talk about Monica and the fact that, see, here's the thing. When they said they want you in the theater, and I immediately didn't see anyone in the theater, I'm like, okay, it's just one-on-one. And I'm thinking, you're a scroll. And sure enough, turns into a scroll. It's like, yeah, they want to talk to you. It's like, where? And you just see the smile on Monica's face. By the way, too, that was a cool scene with her. I don't know how her powers really work, Monica's powers, because her, Monica Rambeau. Hold on, I'm going to find Photon's powers and see if they match up to what we kind of saw. Monica Rambeau. Let's see here. Monica Rambeau, not cinematic universe. I don't need. Okay, Monica. Okay, Monica Rambeau. What exactly is photons or spectrums or whatever her name is? Whatever alias she goes under, because she's gone under a lot of aliases. I know that. Yeah, seriously, affiliation. Aliases. Yeah, Auntie Monica. Cute. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Daystar, Tane Marvel, Light, Pulsar, Photon, Sun, Goddess. And I believe Spectrum is another one. So yeah, whatever. Okay, so her energy form. Due to bombardment of extra-dimensional energies, which is what happened in this series, Monica can transform herself into any form of energy within the electromagnetic spectrum. It's actually got energy. Among the many energy forms she has, she assumes she can control gamma rays, X-rays, ultraviolet radiation, visible light, electricity, infrared radiation, visible light, electricity, infrared radiation, microwaves, and radio waves. She apparently accomplishes transformation by mentally shunting the matter of her body into the dimension from which she draws the energy from. Interesting. So that's how she. Okay, so that actually kind of lines up to what we saw in the show, because her body did some sort of energy thing, and basically the bullets kind of phased through and were slowed down by whatever she did. So that lines up. All right, that lines up. But yeah, so we'll most likely see her in Captain Marvel 2 or another MCU property. All I can say is it has been one wild ride with WandaVision. I will probably end up rewatching the series at least once in its entirety, like binge it. And then I'm thinking about, let me just find out when Falcon and Winter Soldier, because Falcon and Winter Soldier is coming up pretty quick. I want to say it's like 2 or 3 weeks. Falcon and Winter Soldier release. So it debuts March 9th. Oh wow, March 19th. Wow, that's quick. So hold on. Okay, 7th. Yeah, literally 2 weeks from today. All right, sweet. So we just got a 2-week period. Gotta be. Oh yeah, I'm pumped. I am pumped. Falcon Winter Soldier in 2 weeks. Down. Oh, I'm so in. Now, how long the episodes are going to be, I don't know. From what I understand, it's a 6-episode series where WandaVision was a 9-episode series. Now, WandaVision's episodes ranged from a half hour to maybe even a little less to the final episode being like 40-some-odd minutes without the credits. So, if say Falcon Winter Soldier is the same amount of runtime, but within same amount of screen time of a series, but condensed into 6 episodes, that means now that we're looking at a series probably closer to 40 to 50 minutes on average, which, hey, I'm down for that. Yeah, because it's not like Mandalorian or even WandaVision where it's 8 to 9 episodes, half hours, 40-some-odd minutes long. No, a 6-episode series, you got to make it at minimum 40 minutes, maybe even 45. Otherwise, like that, you're gonna get people saying it's too short. But anyway, yeah. Oh, I am looking forward to it. Tell you what, though, after WandaVision, this is gonna be a hard act to follow. Like, you would not want. It's kind of like, the whole band things. Like, you do not want to follow that act. You do not want to be the one who's following this act. But we'll see what happens. So WandaVision, did you like it? Did you hate it? What did you think of the ending? Put in the comments below and let me know. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. As always, you want us to review something, put in the comments below and let us know. We'll do a review at some point. Ideas for win, Star Wars, Superhero Magic, what if, anything you do on the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get that at some point. I think that's it. I'm going to pre-record my what if today and just upload it in the morning, because I'm also catching Chaos Walking tomorrow after work. I also got to get an oil change. My car's struggling a little bit because I haven't gotten an oil change in a little while, so I got to get an oil change ASAP. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. See you later, folks.